But we have some awards to present, and I'd really love everyone if we can have your attention. And I promise you'll have more time to talk before the workshops happen. Anyway, how's the morning going for everyone? Great. I mean, the workshop I went to was amazing. You all inspire me, so thank you again for being here. When I did my opening remarks, I forgot to acknowledge some of the amazing board members from Living Beyond Breast Cancer. I have a few board members here: Margaret Zuccotti, Barbara York, our former board chair, Denise Portner is a former board member, but our board is so important to Living Beyond Breast Cancer, and these are volunteers who are doing things every day to make sure the organization is strong and healthy. So the next part of this program is really just to acknowledge the many, many ways volunteers make Living Beyond Breast Cancer possible. We have a lot of volunteers here today who are doing registration and greeting you. I'm sure Bobby's doing a handful of things. We have helpline volunteers, who answer the phone and we match them to people in a similar circumstance. We have something called Community Connectors, where we train people to be volunteers all over the place. Are Community Connectors here? Can you raise your hand if we have any? Do we have any Community Connectors? But they really are ambassadors in their hometown. They raise awareness, they distribute information, and they raise funds. We also have young advocates. So we train women who've been diagnosed with breast cancer before the age of 45 to be advocates and to support Living Beyond Breast Cancer. Do we have young advocates? All right, a couple of them. And then I've already talked about our amazing Hear My Voice volunteers, but why don't you all raise your hand also, because I know there's a lot of you here. So thank you, and we know that, and we really feel that part of our mission is to provide volunteer service. So thank you for everything that you do. So what we're going to do in the next few minutes is call attention to a couple of volunteers who we feel like have really been leaders this year. These awards are funded by Novartis for the second time. Elise Spatz-Kaplan, who is the Director of Patient Advocacy, it was really her vision who said, let's start giving awards to these amazing people. So thank you, Elise, and thank you, Novartis. And I also want to thank Lilly Oncology for their leadership level of support. So the first award, and there was a committee of people who, I know Margaret was on the committee. Who else was on the committee? Barbara, a great committee of people who took in the nominations. So the first award we're going to give is to Terlisa Shepard, who is from Orlando, Florida. I'm going to talk about you for a minute, but you can come up. She was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer in 1998 at the age of 31 when she was pregnant with her second child. After giving birth, she started a grueling process of chemotherapy. I know you can all relate to that. Had a mastectomy and reconstructive surgery, and after 2 years of moving on with her life, loving her young daughters, there was a mysterious back pain, and she had a new diagnosis, which was metastatic. And she wrote in her blog that she started to feel defeated, but I knew I had to keep it together for my family, especially for my 2 daughters. It's not about me. I'm not the only person in this fight. That's great. So last fall, during a panel discussion, Terlisa told us how her young daughters have grew up and have just infused her, and it's been amazing. It's been 17 years, right? 17 years. And she hasn't gone on and relaxed during this time. She has really become an advocate. She is one of our Hear My Voice volunteers. She soaks up as much information. She speaks. She runs a nonprofit about what it's like to live with metastatic breast cancer. She's out there making connections in any way she can. So we are so pleased to present this award to you. And we always like to use words. So your award is Passionate Educator, Tireless Connector, Inclusive Advocate.
Awesome. Thank you. Wow, for little old me. But this is great, but I feel the award in it is doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Again, this is not just about me. It's about all of us. The survivors, thrivers, caregivers. Oh, trust me, my caregivers, they're complete survivors. It has been 20 years totally that I've been surviving this disease, and I'm just completely and utterly thankful. Thankful to Living Beyond Breast Cancer. This was my first breast cancer conference that I attended, and I was sold from there onward. The Hear My Voice program has been amazing to be a better patient advocate, and I'm absolutely grateful that Miracle Baby that I was pregnant with is here with me today. This is her first conference, her first experience. So she will continue the legacy and hopefully will be an advocate for others. I've met some amazing young women who have kids that are going through this with them as well. So I'm hoping to groom her that she will be an advocate in that area as well. So again, thank you all.
Thank you to, I didn't know your daughter was here. I would have brought her up. We might do that later. So then the second award is, we are presenting to Judy Ertl. Where is she? Do you know where she is? There she is. From Deep Haven, Minnesota. So Judy is really quite a force of determination and passion. Her accomplishments are many, as are the deep relationships she has made along the way. Judy was first diagnosed with a rare bone cancer over 20 years ago, and in 2011, she was diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer. And 5 years after that, she learned that cancer had metastasized to her bones. You know, I don't know why it is that cancer just like loves people. They get just, I don't get it. We need the scientists back in here to tell us why that is. But Judy wrote in a blog, "I know life is complicated, but I never realized how complicated having stage 4 breast cancer could be. To help me cope with my life complications, I cook, take walks, read, travel to warm oceanside places, share my story with others, and raise funds for metastatic breast cancer research at the University of Minnesota. I try to find humor and gratitude in each day, and I've found that for me, gratitude really does keep the fear away." Those are great words. So Judy is also a Hear My Voice volunteer trained, and she also helped spearhead, well really probably it never would have happened without her, a metastatic conference that she did with Komen, and Living Beyond Breast Cancer was part of that in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. Which was great, and we're going to do that again. So thank you, Judy, and so come up to us, accept your award. And your award says Visionary Leader, Bridge Builder, Scientific Advocate.
Thank you so much. This is never just about me or one person. I am so fortunate to be surrounded by so many amazing people in my life and with my community. And I am so fortunate to have found Living Beyond Breast Cancer. I remember walking in the first year that I came here, which was 4 years ago, and finally saying, wow, I am in a room full of people that totally get it and understand what I'm living with. And so thank you for taking away that isolation and creating another community for me.
Novartis, thank you for supporting these awards. I'm also honored I get to be with Terlisa and in remembrance of Sarita, some amazing, wonderful people. So thank you. One thing I want to say is sometimes you see people up here and we're getting these awards and you think, wow, they must be something. But each one of you has a powerful story and a voice. And even if you're not the kind of person who thinks that that's something you can do, just sharing your story with your mail carrier or the person that you check out your groceries with or the person that's helping you every day or somebody that you're in line with coffee with, you don't realize the power that your story has. So find your voice. You don't have to shout it. You can even whisper it. But find your voice and use it every day because it's going to make a difference in what's happening with metastatic breast cancer in the future. Thank you.
So we have one more award, and this one we're giving posthumously. I have only given a posthumous award one other time in all my years at Living Beyond Breast Cancer because we always want to share inspiring stories. But when the committee reviewed all the nominations and Sarita Joy Jordan was nominated, they said, you know, we need to create a legacy award and we need to give this first award to Sarita. And I know it's not easy to talk about someone who's not here, but we all know there are a lot of people that were here last year that are not here and others. So I think I feel like Sarita's here. First of all, you look exactly like her. But she was just such a force. Sarita was from Philadelphia, and she always found ways to talk to people and her peers. After she completed early stage treatment, she trained as a community health worker and helped patients navigate. And that she loved that job. And she brought those skills and passion when she was diagnosed with metastatic. Sarita was in the first class of our Hear My Voice, which was in 2015. And that was kind of, your first class is always sort of, you don't really know what you're getting into. And that group of women, they were just amazing. And Sarita was part of that. And that's how MedUp was really born that night. And I had the privilege of doing a couple radio interviews with Sarita over the years. And I just remember that, that woman could talk. And everything she said, it just came out in these long, articulate sentences of her experience. But she was so much more than a woman living with metastatic. She was the mother of 4 children. 2 of them are with us today. She was a helpline volunteer at Living Beyond Breast Cancer, but she also volunteered with the American Cancer Society, with the Metastatic Breast Cancer Network, with the Metastatic Breast Cancer Alliance, and the Young Survival Coalition. She was nonstop. And she was featured in a Metastatic Alliance video saying, "Metastatic, say it." And I think we've talked a lot about this morning, that you just have to tell your story. And she was doing that. She was absolutely doing it to the last possible moment. So something she wrote in a Living Beyond Breast Cancer blog was, "I chose to tell my story so others don't feel so alone. I tell my story because I'm an African American and my community needs to be able to relate to the messenger. I tell my story because I've learned that little money is spent on research for metastatic breast cancer, and I'm running out of time, and I have to have my voice heard. This is why I'm so grateful to be a Hear My Voice outreach volunteer." Sarita was also a very spiritual woman and a woman of faith. She had a Facebook page she called Frog, which was Fully Rely on God. And this page was one of the major ways that Sarita connected with women and men from across the country, and I think probably around the world. Almost every day she posted about her breast cancer treatment and her experience to the more than 1,300 people that followed that page. So believe me, when she stopped posting, people knew there was a void. So I know my colleagues Janine and Kathy had the opportunity to visit Sarita when, during her last few days, and I know Janine called to thank her for all her contributions. And what she said back was, "No, thank you. I felt honored. Never in a million years did I think that little old me could make such an impact by educating, motivating, and empowering with a smile. It feels so great to know that I'm living my life according to purpose. I am grateful." Just amazing that she would say that when she knew her time was so limited. So we all miss Sarita. We talk about her all the time. We have so many beautiful photographs of her, and we have some to share with you. So I want to invite her daughter, Audra, and Jabari, are you going to come up too? If you want to say a few words. So the words we gave to your mom were devoted mother, intrepid advocate, beloved hero.
I'm sorry, I'm not like my mom. I can't really talk. But this has been the hardest year, 10 months, and 2 days since I lost my mom, my best friend. And it just makes me so happy, even though I'm crying, to see how many people loved her and cared about her and followed her advice, her word. And it just makes me so happy. And I just thank you.
She would be so proud of both of you. I know it's hard to do this, but I think sometimes it's really, really important. So I appreciate everybody being part of this. I know Sarita would be happy that we were doing it. And she would say, everybody continue what you're doing. Don't stop. Don't be sad. Continue your work. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your lunch. Thank you.